Welcome in. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Appreciate you making Morning JOX a part of your day. Conrad Van Order, Damian Mitchell here with you for the next hour. And we've had a lot for the start of the week, Damian, of course, especially on Monday. So much to get into from the weekend, but especially with the House settlement and everything that came down over the weekend and sweeping changes around college football. And some people are excited, some people are upset, some people are freaked out. But yeah, just so many things going on there. And then yesterday we had what was going on with private equity and that becoming now maybe a bigger part of the picture in college athletics, and a lot of things going on that are, big picture topics, but they're not, involving necessarily what goes on the field. Now I know they impact what goes on the field, obviously, but college football season will be here before we know it. And so I thought today maybe we would spend some time talking about what we're going to see on the field. So we have some new rankings for the upcoming college football season that are maybe a little different than some that you will have seen already. You're going to have 6 SEC teams in the top 10, so that's good. But I guarantee you could not predict the 6 that I'm going to tell you a little bit later in the show. So we have some new rankings to go through, just kind of an overview of, what some expectations are for the upcoming season, as well as we're going to tell you the standings for the SEC at the end of the year. Don't even have to worry about the season. We already know how it's going to go, right, Damien?
Right.
Yep.
Usually we wait till around SEC media days, but hey, I am here for a discussion early on.
Well, we found out yesterday who's going to win the SEC, who's going to come in second, who's going to come in 16th. So we might as well share that information if we already have it. Now, a little over 3 months ahead of the start of the season. So a lot to get into today, but we just want to have some fun college football conversation, kind of talk about some of your excitement and hear from y'all as well at 205-834-9450, and just get some of your thoughts on the upcoming season and where you are on Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, whoever it may be. We have so many fan bases represented here amongst you great Jox listeners. So we'll have some fun with that conversation as well. But we do have some other things going on in the world, as well as some big news on the college basketball front. And that's actually kind of where I wanted to start today, because this was I guess the most recent news that you may have missed from yesterday, because this didn't come out until yesterday evening. But it has been announced. And now that, we're a basketball state, right? I mean, we love football, but I mean, if Alabama was a basketball school this year and Auburn was a basketball school this year, then we're a basketball state, right?
Absolutely.
Isn't
I mean,
that
you are real big Alabama basketball fans.
Yeah, I am a big Alabama basketball fan. Oh,
Don't let this.
okay.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Another team may have entered the mix for Damien's fandom. If you're watching this on YouTube, you already know what it is. Otherwise, we'll tell you what it is in a minute. But anyways, getting to the changes coming to college basketball. So hopefully this is what they are expecting it to be. Again, this is when I tell you this, I'm not 100% sure in terms of, all right, is this going to make games, like 5 minutes faster? Is it going to make them significantly faster? I guess we'll have to wait and see. But the big change, they are trying to make the end of college basketball games shorter. That is the gist of this. That is their goal. As we all know, the final 2 minutes of a lot of these basketball games take 25 minutes, and that's just not the way that it should be. And so they're trying to make changes. So the NCAA Playing Rules Oversight Panel has approved changes that will take place starting this season, the 2025-2026 season. And the big change is that on out-of-bounds plays within the final 2 minutes of a game, those will no longer be video reviewable by the officials unless it's called for a challenge by one of the coaches. And so in that situation, it's like challenges in other sports, right? You have to have at least one timeout available to challenge. And if you win the challenge, great. You win, you get another one, you keep playing. If you lose the challenge, you lose a timeout, and that's all she wrote. So the idea for this is that essentially it's just going to cut down on the amount of times at the end of games that you see officials standing around the monitor, and especially something like an out-of-bounds play, which can, we got to look at it from every angle. It's just one of those calls that maybe can drag on a little while, Damien. So, again, okay, it sounds nice. Like we seem to be headed in the right direction. But again, is this going to be like some of the changes If y'all remember with college football a couple years ago, where it's, oh, this is going to speed up the game. It's going to be so much faster. And then at the end of the year, we looked at the data, and I think it was like 3 minutes faster on
Right.
average for a game. And it's like, no one's going to even notice that. So
No.
we'll see what happens, but they're trying something.
Right. I mean, it probably is difficult, especially like you said, the last 2 minutes of a college basketball game. It's insane, especially if it's close. Like it'll last 30 to 45 minutes, and I kind of appreciate their, like you said, at least they're trying. They're trying. It's not like Major League Baseball where they completely kind of changed everything, and even in adding especially in college baseball too, with adding that green base that just kind of throws everything off. But I do think that anything to kind of ramp some things up, because again, the attention spans for all of us humans is getting shorter and shorter by the day.
Mhm.
But also, like some games don't need to last 3 to 4 hours. Like if we can get a run, up and down the floor, yeah, the last 2 minutes shouldn't change any of that. Like if anything, it's just we know you're gonna be fouling. That those are gonna happen, but now as far as just the side out of bounds things, like I credit college basketball for at least attempting to speed these things up.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, you look at Major League Baseball for the last couple of years since they made some of their changes with the pitch clock and things like that to start speeding up games. And I mean, viewership's been up. I mean, this year especially, they've had a really, really good ratings for MLB. And over the last couple of years, it's been up. And I think a lot of that is because now people go, all right, I can sit down and watch a game in 2.5 hours. I'm not going to be here for 4 hours. And I know some people didn't need that to be changed. I'm one of those people. I was fine with the way that it was, but I understand that, not everybody is, maybe as locked in as some of us. And you don't want to have to commit 4 hours to something like that. So we've seen it work for Major League Baseball, and maybe now it'll help with college basketball. But it is still, so with this new rule change, it's not going to take away certain things. So officials will still be able to replay, if there's a clock error, something's wrong with the clock, scoreboard mistake, shot clock violations. If a guy has a toe on the line, if it's going to be a 2 or a 3-point shot, flagrant fouls, things like that. So there still are going to be reviews at the end of the games. It's just hopefully you're not going to have nearly as many. And again, with this challenge system, you would think that would severely limit the number of times that guys are going to be standing around a video board. So hopefully that will be good news. We also have another change that I thought was kind of interesting. So there's some other things here, like kind of like college football. They're trying to find ways to, not have guys fake injuries on the court, things like that, to kind of slow things down, let their team get a breather for a minute. But if you're somebody that watches college basketball and goes, man, there is not enough and ones, well, there's going to start being more because they have made a change to the continuation rule now where initially you had to be fouled in the shot of the act of shooting the basketball, whereas now if you take contact, they're going to let you take an extra step and try to get that shot off. So it's going to be more like the NBA. You're going to be able to get more of those and one opportunities, and a lot of those that, those fancy trick shots that you see, and they're like, how did that not count? Well, now looks like they're going to count for the most part.
Yeah, that old gather step. It's about to. I
I'm
think
fine
a lot
with
of people are going to start patterning James Harden as far as getting some of these and ones. It's like, okay, at some point, we got to separate what's actual continuation and then what's setting up for a shot after you foul. Like it's.
Yeah.
I get it. Like you're mirroring NBA, which is fine. But I'm interested to see how a lot of these guys are going to be attacking the paint now. Like now, since you got the extra, you got a little bit of a continuation. How many people are going to, take the contact, try to get something off the glass? It'll be interesting the style of play when they start to attack the rim now.
Yeah, I could see it frustrating some fans watching it if it gets a little out of hand, but we'll just have to see how that goes. So yeah, those were the two big changes. Obviously, the one about not making out of bounds plays reviewable anymore certainly is the big one, and an attempt to cut down how long these games go, particularly in the final 2 minutes. And then you're going to see some more and ones, it looks like. And the big one, or kind of one of the big overarching changes that a lot of people have wanted, isn't potentially going to go into effect until next year. We don't know if they're going to pass it or not, but that would be moving from 2 halves to 4 quarters. That's something a lot of people have advocated for. Jay Billis has been very outspoken on a number of games that he's broadcasted about thinking that would be the right change. But any vote on that won't come until next year. So that's why You're not going to hear anything about that for another 12 months or so. But those are some changes coming to the world of college basketball. We'll see how they affect Alabama, Auburn, UAB, and the like this upcoming season, but hopefully going to cut down on some game times there just a little bit. All right, quickly, last night, I want to recap what happened in Major League Baseball before we get to our big college football conversations of the day, because you had the Atlanta Braves back in action looking to, don't call it a winning streak, but they were trying to win 2 in a row, which certainly would have been a better spot than they've been in quite a while. So they had a win on Monday, and were able to, kind of feeling good about themselves, right? You got the monkey off your back a little bit, snapped your 7-game losing streak, and unfortunately, you might be starting another one after last night, because you did fall to the Brewers 4-1. So Atlanta now falls back to 28-38 on the season. So Acuna had an RBI single, but that's really all you had going for you offensively last night. Grant Holmes, solid outing, 5 1/3, gives up 3 earned runs, 9 strikeouts. So again, you would hope that your offense would be able to give you enough to at least make it a ball game when you're holding them like that. But unfortunately, on the other side, Priester was just too good for the Brewers, because he went 6 innings, only gave up 1 earned run, no walks, and 7 strikeouts. So tough loss for the Braves yesterday, as again, they now fall back to 10 games under 500. They're 14 and a half games back in the National League East. And yeah, so any goodwill that you had built up on Monday's performance is now kind of gone today. But again, the good news is today, you don't have to spend your night watching the Braves, because they're going to be on in the middle of the day. So you're going to get the Braves today, midday action there from Milwaukee. You'll be able to hear that on the Jox family of networks. But I can't tell if this is Eastern time or not. I'm going to assume this is Eastern time, and that means that it's 12:10 first pitch for the Atlanta Braves today, as they will take on the Milwaukee Brewers in the final game of their series. Okay, excuse me, 1:10. That's going to be first pitch today for Atlanta and Milwaukee. So another rough night for the Atlanta Braves fans. Hopefully tomorrow we have better news to share with you. So going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going all college football the rest of the show. Want to hear from y'all as well, but we're going to dive into some new preseason power rankings for college football, some surprising names at the top from the SEC. And then a little bit later on in the show, we're going to go ahead and tell you, we already know, how are the SEC standings going to play out in 2025. We will share all that with you in just a moment. On the other side, Morning JOX and JOX 94.5. 6:17 here on your Wednesday morning. Appreciate you tuning in to us here. Morning JOX, JOX 94.5, Conrad and Damien with you till we hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. Coming up a little bit later at 7 a.m. So about to get to some new power rankings in college football. But before we do that, did you see this yesterday, Damien? So we got the announcement yesterday. So Lee Corso, as we know, he's going to call it a career after week 1 of College Game Day. That's going to be his farewell show. And there was a bit of a debate going on for a little while now because you have two. There were two games that it was pretty obvious these were going to be the two options for Game Day. And one of them was Texas and Ohio State, which I think we would all agree is the biggest game of that week. And then you have Alabama and Florida State, which is, again, a very big game. But that is where Lee Corso played college football, obviously, was Florida State. And so it was, is he going to go to his alma mater for the final time, or is he going to go to the Texas-Ohio State game that will likely be a top 5 matchup in a rematch of a game we saw last year in the playoffs? And we now have our answer, Damien, and it is going to be Texas and Ohio State. That is where Lee Corso's final game will be. Again, I don't have any evidence to back this up, but I think it's very nice of them. They don't want Lee Corso to have to watch Florida State lose on his last game on game day. So that's, I think that was very nice of them to suggest the Texas and Ohio State game.
Yeah, and I mean it's cool. Like, I mean, we appreciate everything that Lee Corso has done for us, especially just growing up and all the fun he's had. But Texas Ohio State top 5 matchup. It kind of, I can understand, but it seems as though Alabama, if Florida State hadn't had the season that they had last year, you could really have a good conversation about it. But I do think the biggest matchup, even though it's going to be on Fox, but I do think the biggest matchup is definitely Texas-Ohio State. So I guess, more eyeballs for ESPN during that time, but you're going to have to switch over to Fox to watch the game. But
yeah,
I do think that, for the final time, the biggest matchup of week 1, have some fun, Lee.
No, it is very fitting. I just know a lot of us, and I think a lot of us were actually expecting Florida State just because it's his alma mater, and that would be a very cool send-off for him. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Ohio State was actually the first headgear that he ever picked when he started doing that. I believe that's correct. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of a cool tie-in as well. So that's where game day is going to be, not at Alabama, Florida State. They will be at Texas and Ohio State. So that is where Lee Corso will get to say his farewell. All right, now, one of the things every year, Damien, and I don't know if you have these, but there's certain things that happen where you're like, man, college football season is getting closer. And I think for a lot of people listening as well, one thing that signifies that most is Phil Steele. And when Phil Steele's college football preview comes out, I think for a lot of us, whether you're in the grocery store or maybe you're at a bookstore or something with your significant other and you're just browsing around and you go, oh, I forgot that came out now. And that's when you really start to go, okay, I know football's right around the corner if I'm looking at this. And so that has come out, his newest edition. I know the online version's out now. I think the print version's coming out in the next couple of weeks. But he gives you his top 35, not his top 25, his top 35. And there's a lot of SEC representation here, Damien, and maybe some surprising SEC representation in certain spots as well. So quickly, I'll go through the top 10, or not, excuse me, the bottom 10, I guess. So 35 up to 25. So this is according to Phil Steele, again, how he ranks the top 35 teams heading into the upcoming college football season. So number 35, we have Nebraska. No problem there. Number 34, Pittsburgh. Number 33, Arkansas.
Whoop big.
Some expectations there. 32, Wisconsin. 31, Iowa. Number 30, Kansas State. 29, Louisville. 28, Iowa State. 27, everybody loves this team, except Phil Steele, I guess. South Carolina at 27, TCU at 26. So those are, we'll call those the bubble, right? Those are the teams right on the outside looking in at the top 25. All right, so now for the top 25, this is where we'll start to get a little interesting here. Number 25 is Texas Tech, who we found out yesterday is spending $55 million on their athletes this year.
If you got it, flown it.
Yep, can't hide money.
That is a fact.
At number 24, Auburn.
Tigers?
The Tigers of Auburn at 24.
Okay.
I think that's real. I think that's fair.
It is. It's not like they're in the top 10, 15 or so.
I think 24 is
It's
certainly
reasonable.
Absolutely. Absolutely for Auburn. So they come in as a top 25 team. Then you have 23 SMU, number 22 Ole Miss, number 21 USC. Don't know if I'd have them ahead of Ole Miss right now, but to each their own. Tennessee at number 20. Does that one hurt your heart a little bit, Damien?
No, it's actually a little higher than I expected.
Okay. So Tennessee's at number 20, number 19 Utah, number 18 Baylor, number 17 Illinois, number 16 Indiana, number 15 Arizona State, number 14 Miami, 13 Oregon. That's going to be lower than a lot of people have Oregon.
100%.
Michigan at 12, and LSU at number 11.
Okay, so the top 10 is very questionable.
Well, there's probably a number of schools out there that people are going, man, I can't believe that Florida's not in the top 35. I can't believe that Oklahoma's not in the top 35.
Buckle up.
Hang on a second. But okay, before we get into the top 10, so LSU at 11, you feel like, is that?
I think it's a little lower than I would have them.
Would you have them ahead of maybe a couple of the teams we're about to mention?
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Oregon, would you feel similarly about them? Maybe you'd have them a little higher?
A little higher, especially when we unveil who he has as his top 10.
Yeah, so at number 10, so again, if you missed it earlier, in this top 10, 6 of these teams are from the SEC.
Oh.
There's a lot of teams we haven't mentioned yet.
Right, and some of the teams that we have mentioned, I would say would be in that 6 of 10, but I digress.
So according to Phil Steele, teams 10, 9, 8, and 7 all hail from the SEC.
Let's go.
4 in a row. Number 10 is Florida.
High expectations.
Yes, but we've seen a lot of these lists, a lot of these power rankings already this offseason. A lot of people have Florida in their top 10, their top 15, something like that.
I'd say top 20, but okay.
Well, Florida's in their top 10, or this one.
Uh-huh.
They're in the top 10. Number 9 is Texas A&M.
Come on, Phil.
We're doing it again.
Come on, Phil. Don't do it. Don't fall for it.
We are doing it again.
Don't fall for it
again. Florida's at 10. Texas A&M at 9. Oklahoma's at number 8.
Well, I mean, you've got John Mateer hoisting the Heisman Trophy, so.
Big fan of Oklahoma. Wouldn't have them in the top 10.
So how are they going to play for the college football playoff if you don't have them in the top 10, Conrad?
Because they're going to be number 12. That is the highest that I've seen anybody have Oklahoma in any sort of preseason expectations, rankings, whatever you want to call it. That one's a little bit of a surprise.
It is.
And again, as you know, Damien just pointed out, I'm super high on Oklahoma. I know Greg's very high on Oklahoma as well. I know people, and again, I think generally people expect them to be better than last year. Right. And I expect them to be better, but I'm talking like 8-4, maybe 9-3. Like if you have a really good season, we're talking 10-2, maybe 11-1, like type situation here. Their schedule's just brutal. They come in at number 8, so that's a little surprising. So again, top 10, number 10 Florida, number 9 A&M, number 8 Oklahoma, number 7 is Georgia.
Okay,
that might surprise some people as well. They're a little lower than other people would have Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6 is Clemson. I would probably have Clemson a little bit higher.
I would as well.
So your top 5 now. Number 5, the defending champions, Ohio State.
A lot of question marks. You don't really know what is returning besides Jeremiah Smith, but reasonable.
Number 4, man after my own heart, Mr. Phil Steele. Alabama comes in at number 4.
Okay. Roll Tide.
And number 3 would be Texas.
Hook 'em horns.
Number 2, Notre Dame.
We could have a discussion.
And if you're playing at home by the process of elimination, you're probably groaning right now and going, oh, we're doing this too. At number 1, Penn State.
That's where he lost me.
You're not a big Drew Aller guy.
I'm not. And again, it could be recency bias. I just know the final game I saw Penn State in the game that mattered, he was the reason why that they fell. And I can't sip the James Franklin Kool-Aid. It is hard. It is hard because they do have a lot returning, but you lost Tyler Warren, but you have two explosive running backs, two of the best in college football. You can lean on that, but there's going to be a point where you're going to need your quarterback to step up and absolutely manage the game, and I'm not there yet with Drew Aller. I cannot. I don't see Penn State being the number one team in the nation. That's, if you have a discussion top 10, top 5, because, they will win a lot of games, or I have the expectation that they will win a lot of games. But to be the number one team entering 2025, not really feeling that one.
I just feel like with Penn State, maybe we overcorrected a little bit in terms of we're giving them, or some people are giving them a little too much of the benefit of the doubt because, well, yeah, they got in the playoff finally, and they did win some big games because they were playoff games, and it's okay, yes, but at the same time, they didn't have to. I mean, first off, they should have beaten Notre Dame, and they choked that one away, but you still haven't been able to get past Ohio State. You still have question marks about that. You haven't seen them beat an Ohio State, a Georgia, an Alabama, even the programs that you look at and you go, now that's a big win. That's a win right there. That kind of changes the momentum of your program. And we just haven't seen Penn State have that yet. So maybe they will this year. But I'm with you, Damian. It's like Texas A&M. It's like we're doing this again, really. Like, sure, Texas A&M, are they going to be good? Yeah, they'll be good. They're probably going to go and win 8 games, maybe 9 if things go their way. But they're not going to be a top 10 team, just like Penn State. They're going to be a top 10 team, but are they going to win the national championship? Do you think they're going to be the best team at the end of the year? I'm not banking on that. So for me personally, so that's, Penn State number 1 is a little bit of a reach there for me. How about, I think we all, no surprise, Texas is going to be the highest rated SEC team by just about everybody going in. What about Alabama at number 4, but also Alabama ahead of Georgia? How do you feel about that?
Oh, I completely agree. Again, until Georgia shows me that they can beat Alabama, besides the one time that they did,
it was a good time to win them.
Yeah, true. But again, that was 3 years ago. Like it's
4 years ago.
4 years ago. So yeah, it's the last time I saw Alabama and Georgia. Now they can say, oh, we had them in the second half. Yeah, but there's 4 quarters in the ball game, and you put yourself behind the 8 ball. But also, yeah, you can have a conversation of, no more Jalen Milroe now. Is that addition by subtraction now at the quarterback position? But you get a year 2 of Ryan Williams, who Georgia couldn't stop last year. He's only going to get bigger, faster, stronger, and mentally better as far as being a receiver. You still returning Jeremy Bernard. Yeah, you got some question marks defensively, but a lot of the guys that you have coming back are veteran players. So I have no issues with Alabama being ahead of Georgia. I think Gunnar Stockton has the arm, but how is he going to be when he is the man? And we saw, Carson Beck with some inconsistencies last year. So now I think Georgia, they bolstered that receiver room, changed everything. But again, until you beat them, I have no issues with Alabama being ahead of Georgia at all.
Yeah, I think that's one that's going to surprise a lot of people. I'll say this. Look, I'll be the first to admit it, right? Am I going to give Alabama the benefit of the doubt when I make a ranking or something like that? And am I going to let my opinion of them, which maybe I'm a little more optimistic than some other people. That's going to influence when I do these lists and things like that. Because like we did our top 15 for 3-man front with our list, and I think I had Alabama the highest. I had them at number 5 on my ranking. And I had them ahead of Georgia. And I think there's a lot of people that it's going to go, okay, so you asked me to buy into Ty Simpson or Gunnar Stockton. Okay, they're both kind of a coin flip. But you feel like you probably have more of a known commodity than Alabama right now. Now, defensively, I don't think we have any questions. Georgia's going to be very, very good, as they are every year. But, I know we expect the receivers to be better and things like that. But I guess you just don't have as much of a known commodity at some of the skill positions as you do at Alabama. So I think that's why, as we move along in this offseason, I think we've gone from at the end of last season, people had really soured on Alabama. And now as the offseason has progressed, people have slowly, you have people that are even like, I think they're maybe underrated going into the year just because, people don't really know what to make of them after, the way that they lost to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma last year. So that's going to be interesting just to see how this kind of all pans out. Because again, we got 2 months and some change to go before we have the actual preseason rankings. So it'll be interesting to see how this all progresses. But just a unique power ranking list, very different than the ones that we've seen in the past already. And some of you weighing in and maybe not being the biggest fans of that list. So you can keep chiming in 205-834-9450. Would love to hear your thoughts on the rankings, where you have some of these teams heading into 2025. And the good news is, well, that was a fun conversation. None of it's going to matter because we do know how the SEC standings are going to play out, Damian. And so we're going to take a quick break, come back in just a moment. We're going to share with you how the SEC standings are going to look at the end of the 2025 season. We will unveil that next on Morning JOX. Well, welcome back into Morning JOX. Appreciate you making us a part of your Wednesday morning here on JOX 94.5. Conrad and Damian with you. Just shared Phil Steele's top 35 college football power rankings heading into the upcoming season. It's definitely a little bit of a unique take on where Phil has some of these programs heading into the fall. Some of you chiming in on the Courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450, with your thoughts there. You can continue to do so. We'll get to those in just a minute, but I'm sure some of you are going to have some thoughts on this as well. So spoiler warning, I know some of you probably aren't going to want to hear this because we are about to tell you the official SEC standings for the 2025 football season. Damian, we can't tell people how we came across this information, but last night we were given, it was an official envelope. It was notarized.
Yeah. It had the SEC seal on it.
It did. A wax seal.
It was.
It's like something out of Harry Potter.
Shout out to Greg Sankey. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner.
The script is in.
The script is in, and we're going to tell you right now who's going to finish first, who's going to finish 16th, and everywhere in between. So the official rankings or standings for the SEC in 2025. Again, spoiler warning. If you don't want to hear it, turn it off now. Coming in last place, you're going to have Mississippi State. It's going to be another rough year for them. I don't think anybody's that surprised. Again, like Jeff Lebby, think he can get this program head in the right direction, but not going to be this year. Mississippi State, they're going to be in last place. Then in 15th, this one's going to be rough. Vanderbilt. Man,
Whoa.
after building, I know. After the success of last year, we thought they were going to keep it rolling. No, they're going to finish in 15th this year.
So y'all are going to get revenge on them this year.
And Auburn.
And Auburn, yeah.
It appears that way.
Oh, boy.
In 14th place, you're going to have Kentucky. You're going to have Kentucky.
That's actually...
Don't know if that's going to be enough for Stoops to keep his job, but they're going to be in 14th.
That's reasonable.
In 13th place, you're going to have Arkansas.
Dang.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, Sammy.
I know. It's rough.
Bob Petrino's taking over at the end of the season? Or was that in your script?
Midway through the season.
Okay.
That was a one of the little side notes that they gave us on the envelope. At 12, you're going to have Missouri. They're going to be 12th.
Okay, Drink, come back to reality.
Yes. All right, now this is where we really, really start to differ from what the Phil Steele rankings just were. Because in 11th place in the SEC, not 11th in the country, 11th in the SEC standings, you're going to have the Florida Gators.
Man.
I know.
Dang.
I know. We had such high expectations for you, Florida.
Yeah, I kind of figured, DJ Lagway, the pressure just got to him. He just wasn't able to respond. I hate that.
Well, a guy that was able to respond maybe a little bit better than DJ Lagway, but not to where I have him at least, that would be John Mateer in Oklahoma because they're going to finish 10th.
Man.
I know.
I got to go back and look at the envelope, man. I could have sworn Oklahoma was going to be higher.
Nope, they're going to finish 10th in the SEC this year. At number 9, you're going to have South Carolina.
Dang, Lenore's?
Man, Shane Beamer.
What's going on?
The expectations were too much.
Man.
All right, at number 8, we're in the top half now. Number 8's going to be Auburn.
Better. So they have.
You're probably 8-4.
Right. Shout out to Jackson Arnold.
8's not terrible.
It's not.
You can live with that. You're headed in the right direction. All right, number 7 is going to be Ole Miss.
Boy, Lane.
They're going to be right ahead of Auburn.
Come on, Lane. What happened?
Couldn't get it done last year.
Did he lose to Kentucky? He's losing to Kentucky again.
He is losing to Kentucky again. I know. That's why Kentucky's 14th. They got that one win. Lifted them above Vanderbilt, Mississippi State.
Should have known.
I know. All right, number 6. It's going to be LSU. So another year where Brian Kelly looking like he's not going to be in the college football playoff.
The defense.
Yeah, it's going to be the defense. Absolutely.
Again.
Absolutely. This will make you happy. Maybe a little bit of a surprise here, Damian. But Tennessee's going to come in 5th place. So they're going to be right there knocking on the door.
I told you, Joey Aguilar he's the second coming of Hendon Hooker. He's trending in the right direction.
Number 4 is going to be Texas A&M.
Okay.
So maybe you're a surprise playoff team there from the SEC, Texas A&M. All right, now your top 3. Number 3 is going to be Alabama. They're going to finish 3rd. So you're going to be back in the playoff.
See, we just talked about Kirby beating Alabama, and I forgot. I almost blew the script, but yes, I do remember seeing it.
You did, yeah. It's not going to happen this year. Alabama is going to lose to Georgia in Athens.
Man,
by 30. It's going to be ugly.
God almighty.
It's going to be ugly.
But they win the Iron Bowl, right?
They do win the Iron Bowl.
Okay,
barely. On a kick 6, actually. It's going to be a reverse. So yeah, Alabama, they're going to finish third in the SEC. Georgia, they're going to finish second.
Wow.
They're going to be runners up this year. Yep. They're going to face Texas again in Atlanta, and Texas is going to take the crown.
Okay, so Texas beats Georgia in Athens, and then they beat them in the SEC championship as well. Okay, so so they just flip flop what happened last year.
Correct.
Makes sense.
So quickly, if you missed it, this is how the SEC is going to play out in 2025. Texas 1, Georgia 2, Alabama 3, A&M 4, Tennessee 5, LSU 6, Ole Miss 7, Auburn 8, South Carolina 9, Oklahoma 10, Florida 11, Mizzou 12, Arkansas 13, Kentucky 14, Vanderbilt falling back to 15, and Mississippi State at 16. So we just gave you the script right there. Sorry, I didn't want to spoil the season for y'all, but that is based on ESPN FPI. That is how they have projected that the standings will play out in 2025. So
high expectations for Arch Manning.
High expectations, yes. A lot of people with very, very high expectations for Arch Manning. So,
but I will say this. Now, it is kind of a logjam when you think of the top half of the SEC. But I do find it difficult right now to say that teams like Florida, Oklahoma, South Carolina are going to finish in the bottom half. I mean,
now, do I think one of them will potentially finish in the bottom half? Yeah, but just because of the nature of, someone's gonna have to win these games, right? But yeah, having all three of them in the bottom half, that would be a surprise.
And again, like we poke fun at Texas A&M, but I'm seriously talking just at a football level. It is hard for me to truly put chips behind them and think that they're going to be one of the better teams. And again, it's Marcel Reed showed us a lot last year. But now, and again, it's kind of the conversation we're having with Arch Manning, with Austin Simmons, John Mateer, to an example. Now you're the man. Now it's every team that plays defense against you has, they kind of see what it's going to be. You lose a couple pieces in the transfer portal. Now you do get your running back room a little bit healthier. But I don't know how you can truly I'm not ready to put Texas A&M in that conversation of kind of sniffing the playoffs or making a case for an SEC championship. Now, last year, I think that they were riding the momentum train, but then when it came down to, executing at a high level, they couldn't do it because literally all you had to do was win the last 2 weeks of the season, and you're in Atlanta. And you fall to a team in Auburn that finished under 500, and then, you had your daddy on the other side of Texas. So it's just hard for me to think that, okay, are they going to course correct this year when they really had the they had the ticket for them last year. So teams like that, and I think LSU falling behind a Tennessee and Texas A&M, even Tennessee. I don't have high expectations for Tennessee because I don't know what it's going to look like. A lot of these guys haven't played, and now I'm expecting them to be to finish number 5 in the SEC. I don't know. I love Josh Heupel, really do, but he's going to have to coach his tail off in order for that to happen.
I was about to say, if Tennessee's winning 9-ish games this year, I mean, I think we're talking about SEC Coach of the Year probably for Heupel with everything that he had to go through there. So, yeah, certainly going to be a fascinating college football season coming up. But yeah, so that's the ESPN FPI. They have told you how the SEC standings are going to come out. So some of you can chime in 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. We have some text. We see you on hold as well, Deacon. Hold on. We're going to take our final break, come back on the other side, hear from you, your reaction to Phil Steele's college football rankings, as well as the projected order of finish for the SEC in 2025. You're listening to Jox 94.5. 6:50 here on your Wednesday morning jocks. Conrad and Damian here. Can hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning in just a matter of moments, but going to spend our final few minutes hearing from you, your reaction to what we've discussed today with college football rankings and SEC standings predictions for the upcoming season. Let's go to the phone lines quickly. Our buddy Deacon's been waiting on hold this morning. Deacon, how you doing this morning?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Oh, not
What's
much,
happening,
man.
brother?
You know, I was going to start with a comment about Phil Steele, but I just got to say, Damian, I had a picture when you were speaking a while ago. You secretly sleep in a Josh Heupel, Oklahoma jersey, don't you?
No.
When you go to bed at night, you put on Tennessee drawers and a Josh Heupel, Oklahoma jersey.
No, it's a bright Tennessee orange onesie.
Dang, man, that's worse. That's worse. That's worse. So you wear Heupel drawers. Heupel drawers and a Tennessee onesie. All right, well, I've always loved Phil Steele. Loved him. I've won money going by his magazine and his stats. But I've got to say that I just left work, and I was planning on going home and relaxing and enjoying the day. But I've got to go rent a backhoe because I'm bringing it back home on the trailer, and I'm going to expand my Vanderbilt hole in the backyard. And I'm going to make room for Phil Steele to come because he put Texas A&M at 8, which I almost choked up saying that, and Penn State at 1. Number one, Texas A&M will finish in the top 10 of the SEC.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
will be 8, 9, or 10,
Yeah.
but they will be in the top 10.
Uh-huh.
As far as the top 25, yeah, I can see them in the top 25. But number 8 and number 4, somebody has channeled Jim Jones, gone to Guyana, and drank some of that punch. And it's just, I've got to expand. I've always respected Phil Steele, and I respect him enough to add a hole in my Vanderbilt dugout here in the backyard. So come on, Phil. You're welcome, buddy. I've got the bourbon waiting. And we'll watch Tennessee and Texas A&M flame out together. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you,
brother.
Deacon. Appreciate you. He always brings the heat.
I'm telling you.
I love it. All right, let's go to the text line here for as we wrap up the show. We're going to go to Nick from North Birmingham. He has some bold predictions for the upcoming season. So first off, he says, at max, Florida, LSU, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Arkansas will all be looking for new head coaches. So that's at max. So that would be five new faces in the SEC.
Oh, boy.
Oklahoma, certainly. They have a bad year. Venables, I think, will be on the chopping block. I think we all know Sam Pittman. Mark Stoops is in that same boat. Billy Napier has been on. I mean, if they really regress.
Right.
And then the Brian Kelly one at LSU, again, that's one of those.
It would have to just be a colossal fall.
Yeah. Now, again, I think if if you miss the playoffs again, I think that seat continues to heat up a little bit. But, LSU, that would have to be a pretty bad season for that to happen. But, hey, you never know. That's why it's a bold prediction. And then he also adds that his projected order of finish, the top 5 in the standings for the SEC, will be number 1, Texas. Number 2 will be Alabama. 3, Georgia. 4, Tennessee. And 5, Auburn. That is bold.
Yeah. Hey, if he's got faith in Tennessee, man, go. Hey, preach it.
Yeah. All right.
But to be number 4?
Yeah.
That's them borderline making the playoffs again.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't really there yet.
Yeah. I don't know about that one. Someone else chimes in. The SEC is going to be rough on some teams expected to do well and some teams that most expect to do bad. Will do really great. But you're right, Conrad. Someone has to win and lose all these games. Auburn, Oklahoma, South Carolina. I could see them towards the top or the bottom, depending on how it goes. Going to be a very interesting season. Can't wait for it. Perfectly fine just skipping through the summer and getting to football season. Hey, me too, man. Me too. Let's see. PG chimes in, says, thank you for making me happy. Well,
shout out to Phil Steele.
Thank Phil Steele, yeah. Who will have a better game week 1, Cade Klubnik or Garrett Nussmeier? Give me Klubnik. Easier defense to go up against.
Statistically, I'll say Garrett Nussmeier because I think they'll lose.
Okay.
They'll be down.
Mac and Cube in the morning.